Incoming priority message.
Okay, good evening. If anyone is watching, I have no clue, but if anyone's even interested about what we are going to talk about tonight here. Scout Special, what can I say? I'm here with Commander Chunk Sautame. Hello, Chunk. How's Japan? It's 4 a.m. in Japan, so you must be tired. Nice. And we have Commander Arnoldo. Hello. How are you doing? How are you doing?
Just in the extremely sunny delights of England. Well, rain. Yeah, I'm okay. Can you hear okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Just enjoying the sunny delights of England that isn't very sunny at the moment, fully grey, overcast. So
Nice. It's really hot day here in Finland, like 29 degrees or so, and I'm sweating my ass off at the moment. But yeah, then we have our fourth scout, Ian, Commander Macron, but I think he might have some audio issues. Oh my god. What? No, that's that's Cruento. I think we there's something seriously bad in your mic. With your mic, I don't know what's going on, but you sound like I don't know.
very, very high pitched, extremely, extremely sparse speed up.
Yeah.
He sounds like Wall-E.
Yeah, that's that usually.
Really high pitched, really fast.
You know, there's a reason. There's a reason I asked you guys to come to this channel a bit earlier because if there's always the case with microphones and audio, because if you don't need your microphone or don't need to use it a lot, then this kind of stuff can happen. But let's not keep that keep us from doing this.
Out and buy a new one, which is why this isn't working too well.
So I think we will. We hopefully get Cruento back at some point, but while waiting, we can. I think we can kick this off. Finally, I will set a bit of background music. So yeah, we are here to talk about our scouting for DECE. So let me go back to the start of DECE and how this few words about how scouting began. As you all know, we didn't have pre-scouted base camps at DECE, so we had to scout them as we go, and this wasn't like Distant Birds or any other expedition before, so we didn't have anything ready. And at some point, me and Macros were talking about it, and so I got the idea, so that sounds like a fun, I could do it. So I became one of the scouts. And then I realized I don't want to do it alone because I really want to see other people also. So if I would do it alone, it would mean that I would be flying all alone for the whole trip and scouting the base camp. So at that point, I reached out to the forums and asked if anyone would like to join me with the scouting. And I think Ian was the first one to join, and Ian is, I think Ian's, I don't remember, Arnoldo, at which point did you came along with scouting?
If you recall, I wasn't actually a member of the exped. I was going to go and enjoy myself flying solo. You've been following your route, pushing ahead, and I think you got a request to PM on the forum saying, look, how do you fancy joining the scouting party? So I can't remember what BC that was, but
I have to say I don't remember either.
yeah,
But
more than happy to do so, obviously.
yeah, it's been really nice having you. And but now that you mention it, I really don't remember anything like that. But then again, I have a goldfish memory, so forgive me for that. But the originals,
I don't really remember what day it is, so
yeah, me neither. And the original scouts who started with DECE were me and Ian, and then there was, I think, VC Platypus and Element, yeah, which we haven't heard from many months. And Element Boy was also one of the scouts, but he decided to drop out from DECE at some point. He did, I think, 1 or 2 base camps, if I remember right. But then he reached out to me and said that he really needs to get back to the bubble to play with his friend, and he dropped out from DECE. And Jank, you are the one I reached out when we got to the point where we lost too many scouts. And there was a situation where I was all alone, and I was thinking, if something happens to me, it's a predicament. So then luckily you said yes, and rest is history. That was around Christmas, I think.
I think it was just before Christmas. Yeah, it was like, what was that, 6 or 7? So, 3 months in.
Yeah. And after that you have been very active with scouting, and it's nice to have you on board with scouting.
I try, as I talked about in my main interview thing. I was already going to be ahead, so might as well do what I can to help.
Yeah. And Arnoldo, you have also quite fast pace, so you're usually flying quite a lot ahead of the rest of the bunch, so
Yeah, I noticed Sir Commander is about to pass Sagittarius A, isn't he?
he's just taking it easy at the moment because I'm just picking up polonium, niobium, etc. I found a nice little. It's a strange little system actually. I'll fire a system shot in. So I'm just taking a quick pause, but I'm doing a chank this time, as I think I mentioned. I'm trying this jet boost.
Oh, yeah, negative 9,000 Y, yeah, nice.
It's different. Usually I'm a jonker, just using standard jumping, and I managed to keep a good pace on that, I think. But jet boost, yeah, I'm just doing it for the novelty. I think I might after this just leave it back to you, Shank, and the others that prefer that method of travel. I'll just go back to my little meandering, I think.
yeah. And there's also, I remember Goemon should have been one of the scouts, but there's another commander we haven't heard of for I don't know, I don't even remember how many months. I don't know if Gorman even started on DECE. I think he started on DECE, but he dropped out at some point. But and also
There were a lot of people who basically made it that crap Nebula launch and then made it to 3 Geminorum.
yeah, and
Once they realized, oh, I have to I still have to manually plot with my 72 light years of ship, and I'm gonna have to make J3 jumps just to get some places. They started reconsidering very quickly.
yeah, and I have a really bad recollection of the early days of DECE, but I think it was me and Ian who mostly scouted the base camps at the beginning, and Element Boy might have scouted some base camp.
We know Weezy definitely got one because
Yeah, he had the
found one of my favorites of all time.
yeah Platypus Plateau. It's really nice place. And it's a shame that he dropped out, and I don't know why, but we haven't heard from him since. But after this, 4 of us has settled in, and we have done this a lot of months now, for a long time, and I think the sharing of base camps has gone quite even, don't you think? So
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm kind of in, like, because I know, what was it, 11, 12, and 13, I was looking at in a row, and it was just like, somebody help me, Arnaldo, come back, and you know, basically since the 14 before Beagle Point, and then now everything after Beagle Point, we're just kind of like leapfrogging each other and spreading it all out. He's already pretty much said what we're going to be doing for at least 2 more months, I think.
My problem was, if you recall, I had my free cam mode, canyon wall, and boost misadventure. So
Yes.
I spent a hell of a long time catching up with you guys because my ethics or it's not quite role playing. It's just the way I like to play. I had to start all over again. So that was. I think that's where we got the Scouts Folly base camp, where you and I meandered around thousands of jumps.
Yes, that was named for multiple reasons.
guys, Macros is saying in the chat that he can't hear you. He can only hear us, me. He can hear you very low, so I have to see what's going on.
OBS is not broadcasting your
It should be, but I don't know why. Let me see your sound levels in Discord. I can raise your gain if it helps, but I don't know why. OBS shows that there is sound levels from you guys, but god damn this eternal sound problems. I hate this shit. Let's raise it a bit. I think it should be a little bit better now, but
click.
yeah.
I'm listening to the stream too.
Macros, you just have to put up some volume.
There's a song about that, isn't there? Pump up the... No, stop it.
I really don't know why he can't hear you guys, but he said that you're very low. God damn, I hate this shit.
Oh, that sounds like Ian again.
Macros can...
We shouldn't be laughing because it's kind of crummy that he's not,
Yeah.
talking. We can't hear him. I mean,
Mhm.
we can hear something.
I've discovered, Henke, why you can't remember inviting me to be a scout, and that's because it was Macross. Back in November, he sent a PM on the forums asking if I wanted to come and play as a scout. So it's not your memory failing, sir.
Yeah, the audio on guests is much better. I can hear. I can hear.
Yeah,
Arnaldo.
I had my Windows volume settings. Well, goddamn this Windows! I hate this shit. There's so many places. There's so many places where you can set your volume. There's like Windows, then there's OBS, then there's Discord. Too many moving parts for me. I am losing my head.
The fun and joys of streaming, which is why I've every time I set up a game to stream myself, it's like I'll have to play through an hour and just record it and then test it playback and just check everything.
And it's easy when you're just streaming by yourself, but when there's a lot of people, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So, but hopefully hopefully people can hear you now. So
yeah, but speaking of things going wrong, again, back to Scout's Folly. It was named for me and Arnaldo met there, and that was the first time that I think people were doing like a joint scouting for one system. We met at a system, and then that's when we were like, we're gonna start from here and just go look around. And we covered something like 1,800 systems in the region, and then he crashed, and then we just made the base camp the starting system that we started at in the first place.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
oh my god, you're going so robotic now.
Digitization.
Oh my god. What's happening? Yeah, I don't know though, you might have some echo. Oh my god. Damn you, audio. Oh my god. That's bad.
That's better.
I'm back.
Yeah, no, it's better, yeah. You went a bit of robotic there for a moment, and Jack also. So.
And Ian's there with us. Go on, Ian.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that's Ian. Yeah. It's too bad that we can't have him now, but
unless, of course, that's his natural voice.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Was it something we said?
That's oh my god. God damn, that was close that my beer wasn't on my microphone and all over my keyboard. That was so close.
Yeah, speaking of the issues of scouting.
Yeah, please continue.
Other not just Scout's Folly, just the struggles with communicating and planning, and this whole past 20 minutes has been a good example. Like, even in when we go flying out and when we start looking for sites and telling each other about stuff, it's just like, somebody will wait, I thought I was looking for that PC, and oh crap, I forgot that I'm doing the one in 4 weeks, not 2 weeks, and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I think that it functions nicely now that there's 4 of us. We can
yeah, like now we've got like a kind of a, you know,
yeah
you do one, and then it's like, okay, you go on vacation for a month.
yeah because I realized that I never could have done this by myself. This would have been way too big bread for me to eat. So
I think the key thing there, though, Henker, as well, is that if you are always ahead of the pack, then you don't have an opportunity to enjoy the actual meetups. So the rotation of scouts is giving those that want to participate in mass jumps the opportunity to do so without killing their ass, getting then the next BC scouted. So I think it really works for you if you wanted to play the exped as a participant of a mass jump, etc.
yeah, and I really like those social aspects, meeting other people at the base camp. So that's the reason why I didn't want to do this alone. So
And I mean,
now as I'm now, because of real life, I'm absent from Basecamp 17 talk show and mass jump next week, and also Basecamp 18. I will miss next 2 Basecamps.
and that's yours.
Yeah, I have to drink some beer, so that's
I'm currently sitting at 17. Arnaldo's fine, and I gotta say I've been flying around taking video and pictures of the place, and it's
no big deal.
Yeah. He called it no big deal, but this place is beautiful.
Well,
I think you lied, Arnoldo. That was
I did mention that there were some photo opportunities. I called it Salt Pan as a landing, as an LZ, but there could have been a better view. It's not quite the rings that I left you guys with before, is it?
Yeah.
Not yeah. I mean, yeah. It's weird because the LZ itself is in a really good spot that you can see from. You can see it from a whole light second out. You're just like, oh, yep,
exactly.
But then you get down here and it's like,
where did that big ball that's across my shoulder come from?
From there, we can use nicely jump to the individual scouting motivation. Arnoldo, let's start with you. What's your personal motivation with scouting? Why do you want to do it?
Well, as I say, I wasn't part of the expert to start with. I was going to follow the route that you guys had very, very kindly created. So I was going to hit your POI, all the waypoints, on my own individual journey. Then Macross asked if I'd join as a scout, so I thought, hey, yeah, I did point out I'm not part of the exped, but came and joined the party anyway. So for me, I just I've got a little bit of an addictive personality, and I like playing Elite. It takes me away from the real world, and I like traveling. So the scouting just absolutely brilliant. I like looking around. I like looking at some strange or pretty scenic vistas, etc. So being able to do this and bring a little bit of benefit to the exped, that's all the motivation I could ask for. It's perfect. It aligns exactly with the way I want to play.
Yeah, I had to break it to you, Arnoldo, but I think that you're a full member of DECE by now.
I think I may have snuck in through the back door, sir.
Yeah, so to speak, yeah.
I'll proudly wear the badge.
That's up to Macross.
Well, yeah.
How about you, Chunk? What drives you to do the scouting? Yeah. What's your motivation?
Well, you know, I talked about this before, so I'll just be quick about it. You know, I like to, you know, I wanted to help out since I was already going to be ahead and try to smooth things out, give people kind of a line, especially when we have BCs that aren't near waypoints. There's just kind of dead space that we have to make a stop somewhere. But I'm also going to admit that there's a bit of ego in it all. I tend, or I hope that I can, that I have a good eye for finding something interesting or finding something that people might enjoy,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to share that with people. So there's some ego in it.
Yeah,
definitely.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. At least my scouting is, hey, look what I found. I want you guys to see this.
Yeah, I think we've all. I think a lot of people who play Elite, from talking on the forums over a while and lurking on the forums, have got that. It's look what I've done. Look what, and I don't know whether it's ego, but self-satisfaction and wanting to share it rather than brag about it. Subtle difference, if you see what I mean.
Also, might have to remember that the beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
Because if there's something which I think is really nice, somebody else might say that's nothing. I've seen better. But then again, I think we are all in this together at DECE. So I don't think.
And I think we've also found a good, 3.0 has added so much, but I think we found consistent variations. Nothing has looked the same as anything else.
Yeah, and I think that do you have guys a single base camp which you're not completely satisfied? Is there a base camp you don't like which you have found? If is why?
I'm not satisfied with Trevor's base camp, but at the same time, the base camp wasn't the point. It was about the mass jump from the rings around the Earth-like, and so I'm not satisfied with it because it was pretty bland and it was just around a blue giant, or a blue gas giant, and there wasn't really anything there. I could have actually probably looked at other planets and found something better, but I just wanted to get something close to the Earth-like, and so it was easy to fly out to a launch site.
Yeah, one thing I have noticed that it's so easy to say to yourself that this is not good enough. I have to find better.
That I found, and if you look at, if anybody gets really bored, goes onto EDSM, looks at the DECE 3D map, and just has a little focus around waypoint 10. If you do a filter on Chank and I's journey, our flight line, you're gonna. It looks like we've had 2 ships' pilots have epileptic fits for some 3,500 jumps. That's where it's. No, we simply haven't found something that both of us said, yeah, this is the one. Chank's bells were going off and deafening people across the universe. I was going, oh, no, I don't really know about this one. Oh, maybe the next one will be a little bit better. So, yeah.
That's the killer, too, is when you find a place and you're just like, it's good, but maybe the next jump. The next jump.
What? There's another 399,487,000 planets or systems that may be a little better. Let's try one of those, shall we?
Yeah. I've decided that I won't spend too many days for finding the base camp, and I try to plan ahead what I'm searching for because it helps a lot. And for example, for Basecamp 18, I decided that we haven't had a Basecamp in neutron star system, and you know what?
I wonder where you got that idea.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
And you know what? I found it.
Yeah. Well done, Hank. Well done. We're looking forward to getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, we've all seen it too. You haven't, so if anybody listening.
Yeah, I think it was quite easy find, but I'm still not completely satisfied. I still have to fine tune my find a bit. So,
Maybe just one more system. Maybe just one more jump.
Yeah.
Maybe if I just filter on A's and neutron.
well, what do you think I'm doing at the moment?
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. A little tiny details that we sometimes we look at and sometimes we miss. So
Yeah.
like I didn't look at orbital periods and rotations when I found not what was it, Bregna, the Trevor's system. When I found the LZ, I was just like, oh, here's a planet. Oh, there's volcanism. Oh, let's land here. And I think that's the one. Was that the one with molten iron that didn't spawn molten iron for me until like 5 minutes before the launch? I think it was, and I was just like, this is nothing. It's so boring. And I'm still kind of like, it could have been better. Because I didn't look at the skybox and where the planet would be, what it would be facing. So I think it was just facing empty sky.
And I think that's part of the rationale behind me calling BC-17 no big deal, because it wasn't quite what I wanted, but I was becoming timescales were becoming compressed. So I wanted to find something, but BC-17 wasn't quite it, if you see what I mean. It's good. It's got nice things there, but it just wasn't quite it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but I think you can't be too critical about yourself. You have to think the whole picture. You're searching for a base camp and you can't have everything. That's a fact. So
well, I'm gonna finish my trek back to BC-17, pick up the route again, go shooting past the following waypoints and BCs, and I'm gonna then spend another few thousand jumps trying to find something better than no big deal.
So,
I've seen
on that point, since we've already mentioned the neutron star base, are there any? I know Henko wants to do the questions, but I think it's good for me to toss this out since he's talked about
Yeah, go ahead.
what he's looking for. Are there any specifics that people are still looking for? Any type of planet or any type of location or system or anything
Actually,
like that?
funny that you mentioned that. I've had one thing in my mind since like Basecamp 8, and we haven't had a base camp in Brown Dwarf system.
Oh,
It was quite close that Basecamp 8 was it. I searched for Brown Dwarf, or was it Brown Dwarf? I don't remember. But then I found something better, and then it left. I didn't find it, but Brown Dwarf, we haven't had that. That's something. Something to look for. Because
have we got 18 and 19 scouted out then?
18 is, but 19 isn't.
Ian's doing 19, isn't he?
He's looking for 19.
And by the way, talking
20
about
will be a coin toss between me and you, I guess.
talking about Ian, I think we lost him completely. I don't see him in the chat. And,
Cool. I'm just looking on my route planner for roughly where 20 will be. Yeah, I'll have to sit down. We'll have to take it offline and see roughly where it'll be, and then probably either you or me, Chank. There's a slim possibility that we could be heading out that way at some rate of knots.
Yeah, as well. So Henka's got his brown dwarf that he's still looking forward to.
Oh, it's not. It was only an idea. I don't want to reserve it. You can.
No. Not that anyone's looking for, just ideas of places that you'd like to see still, even if somebody else found. Obviously, I wanted to find a star. You found one, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. other one.
We've got
Because
We've got
Arnoldo,
macros
because
still.
Arnoldo, you failed with the nothing base camp. I think we have to do, we have to do that again.
My nothing wasn't nothing. Okay. Well, we've still got.
I think most brown dwarfs will be pretty solid nothing planets. They're just not hot enough.
Yeah.
But speaking of, that's one thing that I am still looking for. I think most people will recognize from the 3 or 4 sites that I've found. I like to find near bodies, moons or planets that are really close to each other or close to their stars.
Get that skybox filled.
Yeah.
And I want to find a near star hot landable. Nothing too hazardous.
Like Betelgeuse.
But I mean, kind of like a Scardy.
Yeah, Scardy.
Not quite
Yeah.
But definitely something like the frying pan, which was a point of interest. It was just close enough that it would heat you up as you started to land, but not to anything dangerous or excessive. And it really did fill the sky when you're on the ground.
I think that is one of the balancing acts for the scouts, though, isn't it, Chank? It's this looks really good to me, and it was okay. So if you recall, when we were round about WP10, we were there were some higher grav potentials, and it was, well, this is okay because we're happy doing this, but do the rest of the fleet want a risky LZ?
Do people want to try landing on a 3.6 gravity planet?
Well, I think especially now we're getting round to the 4 o'clock position, 5 o'clock position on that big time face that we're looking at. Then, do you know what? The level of risk and the potential consequences of a misadvised BC. Let's stick to something that's still interesting, but not necessarily putting people in risk. That's a little bit of a balancing act for us, I think.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But if the rest of the expert, anybody listening to the Twitch, wants to provide some feedback on what your level of risk is, just how dangerous do you want us to be, then the scouts will be pleased to take your advice.
Yeah. I had something in mind, but I seem to have lost my train of thought, so maybe it will
So we've
come.
got brown dwarfs, we've got near bodies, hot bodies.
I still like the neutron idea.
Yeah.
Trying to find a close to it, that extremely rare case of a landable in that's near any reasonable distance from a neutron.
Yeah, now I remember. I wanted to talk about a little bit about. We have been talking the good and the bad, but what's the ugly of scouting? I think what I mean the ugly with scouting is that we need more tools with scouting. For example, finding volcanism it's a pain at the moment.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So
since
3.0 volcanism it's 100 times harder to find. I remember.
Yeah, I think something changed.
You could dive. You could dive and find volcanism on a planet that had it in 10 or 15 minutes usually, and now it's like a whole day.
I'm really waiting for the Q4 update if it will improve exploration in a way that we can have some kind of heat monitoring or something like that.
Yeah, the problem is, Henker will be on the second trip all the way round. We'll have gone round the other way, anti-clockwise, and then started back the other way by the time that update lands, I think. So
yeah, it might be, but we always have DC2.
Yay! That's where we've got to do it, holding our breath, trying to catch up with Hanukkah. Yeah, Hanakura. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have, by the way, talking about DC2, which we cannot confirm or deny at this point, but if it happens, we have gotten this far and I haven't made any bookmarks for possible DC2 base camps. So I have to do it all over again at DC2. So wrong. I did bookmark one system which had 90 bodies, so it might act as a Mastech system for DC2.
Cool. I think what we should do is we should add to the joy as well. Instead of just this boring going round in a circle thing, we ought to crisscross.
Yeah. And the fact that I made my scouting duties way more harder with changing my ship to G10, I really would like to see DC2 if it happens. I really would like to see way more challenging base camps at DC2. I really would like to see base camps which you can reach only with like 60 light year range.
That was one of the challenges over BC17. What I was trying to do is find somewhere that this is why the jumps were all over the place. I was trying to find neutron, but because we're so far out on the edge, then I'm okay. I've got a 65 light year jump range, 130 with J3, but I know that there's some members of the expert that just, well, you're giving me a BC, I've got no chance of reaching. Why the hell would you want to do that, Arnold?
But yeah, I think DC2, if it happens, I really would like to see really more challenging base camps and harder to reach base camps, because so far DC base camps has been quite walk in the park.
I think
that's another thing that I could be considered the ugly, is that because of the timing and the distance that we've set to limit ourselves to, it's usually either at or near a waypoint or directly between two waypoints.
Yeah.
So it's easiest just to put it on a line and say, okay, I'm gonna look at this 100 or 200 light year square cube and find something inside here.
Yeah.
And call it good. One challenge. Should I say it though?
Yeah, go ahead.
One challenge is a base camp that basically is not exactly a one-way trip, but not something you want to come in, not something you want to go to the system, fly there, and then leave the system once you get to it. And at least until the final mass jump. And I think some people might know what I'm talking about. 100,000 light seconds or more.
Oh yeah, that has
a good 10,
been
15-minute cruise.
Yeah. And that's something I really would like to see at this trip.
Cool. That's another potential then. What we want is a 450.
So if anyone is watching, be prepared for a base camp which is at least 100k light seconds from the main star.
Yeah.
Because it will happen.
What we want is a primary with 0 bodies. Yeah. and the secondary, as you say, minimum of 150k. My preference is 450. Why don't we go full-blooded Hutton on this, guys? Come on.
Although Macros just says
single.
Yeah, and although Macros just said
Sadis.
but
it's the best thing is what we want at the end though is a single landable ice body with only phosphorus on it. That's it. Yeah,
but
no volcanism.
It's not about me. It's not about scouts saying "fuck you" to all. It's more like, this haven't been done before. It's not about fuck you all. It's something I really want to see because nobody has done it before.
Yeah. There was one that I was looking at. I found a moon around an Earth-like. This must have been back at geez, what was that, like 9 or 10 or something like that? Was a Earth-like with a landable moon, and there were basically, it was the main star, binary star that had 4 planets. One of them was an Earth-like with a moon, and it was about 140,000 light seconds. But when I finally flew out there, the moon was so far from the planet that it was pointless in actually making it anything, because you couldn't even see the Earth-like from the moon. So it wasn't like you were flying out there and you got to see this really close moon. You got to see this really close Earth-like from a moon. It was just, hey, there's kind of a blue dot over there, I think. So.
And also, I think... also, if we put 100k light second base camp, I don't see the complaint. People fly to Hutton Orbital every day. No big deal.
Yeah. and it really is, 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah,
just
it's nothing.
Relaxing in Super Cruise and good.
But really, I have to stress this again. It's not about Scout saying "fuck you all." It's about being done it before. Really
That's another thing. Is if we find that, it'll literally be a planet out there orbiting a star that we will be the only people who probably ever see it.
Yeah, that's the other reason. Yeah, and it being completely worthless ice planet, it makes it even more fun.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah.
No, Macross, that's your job. Go and find it, Raxla. I mean.
Yeah.
So we have about 10-12 minutes left. We could talk about a bit upcoming base camps. We have still, after 18, we have 7 base camps left, and I don't know how we are.
It feels weird, like it's going so quickly.
If we keep the 12 Kylie distance between base, I don't know how it settles down at the end, but we will see eventually. But is there any? We already talked about what we would like to find for base camp, but we have still 7 base camps to go, so there's still time to find those special things. And by the way, at this point I have to mention that at Basecamp 18 there will be no SRV racing because I'm not there. I want to participate. But yeah, 7 base camps left, and at least that Brand Dwarf base camp I would like to see, because they are different. They are really, really different, and being there and doing the mass jump from the Brand Dwarf would be different again. So.
Well, I think that's we don't have to go the full hour, but I think different is another thing that I kind of guess I want to close my remarks on. Is and 3.0 has added so much variation and variance. I know that was 16. Yeah, 16 was mine, and it was just a boring kind of beige red scarred planet. But the point of it, and I don't know if anybody else got to fly around and look at things, was like in that one gas giant there are between 2 gas giants there are 12 different just beige planets with scarred canyons on them, but they're all different colors. There's blue and green and red and orange and yellow, and then when you get the other planets, they're different colorations of the same theme. And it was mostly to highlight 3.0, but I wasn't there.
And talking about the good and the bad and the ugly, I think that the 3.0 with all the color variations, it was good, it was bad, and it was ugly also. The good was that we have so many variations for to choose from, so it's not all beige Blake and so many color variations and so many planets to choose. But I think it's also the bad. There's so many options to choose from. I was almost going nuts. I don't know which to choose. So many choices. And the ugly one is that there still is the beige. So I have seen so many beige planets. So I think that we should have also one beige planet still. Just because. Why not?
I think a solid brown dwarf could cover your brown dwarf and beige and nothing planet all at once.
Yeah, it might do that.
It just if it can be found though, I'd like to find one that's. I mean, if I found it, I'd like it to be something where, it's actually relatively close. 100, 200 light seconds. Because most brown dwarfs, their planets start at 500 to 1,000 light seconds, and then just scatter out from there. They're usually pretty far.
Yeah. Arnoldo, what's your take on the rest of the journey? What do you want to find still? What's your unicorn?
Yeah, I'm don't really have the unicorn. I've got I think one of the things that I'm finding with the scouting is you don't know what you want until you find it.
Exactly.
Neither do you. But you do know when you get somewhere that no, this isn't quite it. This isn't quite it. If you see what I mean. So it's not so much the unicorn. And I know I'm going out looking for you. It's the wow, look what I've found, and this has got that feel about it. This is right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I talk about and joke about all the time. It's just I go into a system and it's like I look at the system map and
ding dong.
No, not quite there. And then 3 jumps later, I'm just like, this is it. This is it. And
it's funny that you mentioned, Arnoldo, that you really don't have a clue what you're looking for until you see it, because it's more like you have these guidelines which you have set for yourself, and you have to get those before you know. Let's say you want to find a system with Earth-like. That's the first one, and the rest comes with the system. If you find the system with the Earth-like, then you take a look at the rest of the system.
Yeah, and some of those things like that kind of then go granular. It's I just don't want an Earth-like. What I want is an Earth-like with an orbiting body, and I don't just want an orbiting body. What I want is a landable orbiting body, and I don't just want a landable. I want to be able to land and see the Earth-like, and so that kind of that's not quite it. It's got A. It's got B, but it doesn't have C, and I think one of the problems with 400 billion systems out there is that we know that with ProcGen there is something out there that is the absolutely perfect system, but because most humans still have this gambling thing that the next one will be it. God, I'll put money on it. Unfortunately, the bugger never is.
Yeah.
We'll get there though. But yeah, the unicorn is out there. I don't know what the bugger looks like, but I'll find it. I promise not to shoot it and eat it, but I'll find it.
It's funny, when I decided that Beagle Point at Basecamp 18, I knew back then that Basecamp 18 will be mine, and I decided that it have to be a neutron system, but also it had to have landables, and it must be undiscovered before. So I found like 3 or 4 neutron systems before the current one, and they were all in Spanish, which means they were found.
Yeah.
So this Basecamp 18 system is found by me and nobody else. And I will give you the information next week when I find the final basecamp landing zone, and I already have one good potential for landing zone where you can do canyon jumping. Finally. If I choose to
not
get...
in an anaconda, guys. Don't be that guy.
Yeah. But if I choose to get that landing zone, there will be canyon jumping. But there unfortunately no SRV racing, because I really want to be involved with SRV racing. And sadly I will be out from Basecamp 18, but I will get back to that when I find the final location.
So you've got some real world interruptions then, Henker.
Yeah, I have next week with real life meeting with my faction, elite in-game faction guys. We have a real life meetup next weekend.
Oh wow!
10 hairy guys, drunken guys. It's not pretty. You don't want to hear it.
Disgraceful. Disgraceful.
Yeah. And
Have one for me.
at Basecamp 18 weekend, there's this midsummer weekend in Finland, which is known where Finnish people get drunk and go drown to the lake. It's how we spend our midsummer festival. But yeah, I hopefully will be back at Basecamp at 19 again. So whoever finds it. I think, do you guys have any final words you want to say about scouting for DECE? I have to say first that I have been really enjoying scouting, and I remember when I left Beagle Point that I was so waiting to get back to the scouting. The last base camp I have scouted must be... Oh god, I can't even remember what was the last base camp, but it's so long time. So I was really waiting to get back on the saddle and to do the scouting and find the base camp location. I have been enjoying every minute since I left Beagle Point, and I have been chonking just to get to the Basecamp 18 location, and it's been fun. I have really been enjoying scouting, and I will be hopefully doing it again in the future at some point.
For me, it's been really enjoyable. I'm looking forwad to being able to get in and find another base camp at some stage in the future, probably 20, or as I say, Cenk and I will be fighting over that one. But for me, if any of the Exped members do have a preference, as we were talking about, either a brown dwarf or a high grav, or the dist greater than 150k LS, then get it either into Discord or onto the forums, so that the scouts can take a look and see if there's any way that we can incorporate the desires of the Exped members into our scouting endeavours.
Yeah, actually, that's one thing I have forgotten completely. Yeah, if anyone has some wishes or ideas for a base camp, let us hear it.
Yeah, I think... Oof, that's pretty.
Shiny!
Sorry, who is that? Macros just posted a image of a very, very off, what is that called? What do you call that? The orbit isn't in line with the planets.
Oh my god.
What do you call that? The not eccentricity, it's inclination. Inclination is so extremely off.
That's not very pretty at all. No, I'm sure we can do better than that.
Yeah.
Give us a challenge, Macross, surely.
I think that's Photoshop. Photoshop.
Dude,
I'm calling Photoshop.
I can see the pixels. I can see the pixels.
Fake.
But yeah, I don't think I'm not really looking for any kind of specific volcanism anymore, because I think we've covered it. You know, we've had the sulfur gases, we've had massive water jets, and we've got the iron magma now at least once.
Yeah,
So
by the way, about that, I really want to find that again. Was it Basecamp 16 or 14?
that
It was before
the
Beagle
magma.
Point. Before Beagle Point. Basecamp 14, I think, where we had Iron Magma. I really loved that. We have
I think
to find
that
that
was
again.
12 or 13 maybe.
Yeah, I really like that. It was nice. And it burns your SRV. So if you
Yeah, it
are
does.
careful,
Yeah,
it
it
will
does.
burn up your SRV and you will take
That
some
would be
damage.
April 15th, whenever that was.
Yeah.
So 2 months.
But yeah. Do you have
Yeah, I'm not
any...
not looking for anything specific. Just I mean, I have some ideas, but I'm just looking for something that I can be like, this was awesome, and I'm glad that I got to be here, and hope that other people enjoy seeing it as well.
Yeah, and so far we are all alive, and well, despite doing scouting and risking our lives for you guys.
And we're not enjoying it at all, honest.
Yeah. I think I don't have anything more. I think, of course, we could chat here for another hour easily, I think, but because we lost Ian at the very beginning, I think we have to do this again at some point. If Ian would get his microphone working.
Maybe a little bit earlier. It's 5 a.m. I'm definitely gonna crash. I'm gonna crash as soon as this is over.
So you don't want to talk with us for another hour?
Oh, I'd love to, but I'm just really tired and still just recovering from.
But hey, it's.
I mean, last week was 6 days of work, and then a full week of work this week too. So.
Oh yeah, I think we could have easily enough to talk about for another hour, but I think we have to let you go to sleep, and
Cool.
Maybe next time we will have Ian Cruento with us also. I think we could do this at the end, towards the end of DECE, and talk about the whole experience. Maybe.
I'm happy to join any time now that I've actually got this cheap £5 headset and microphone and worked out how to use it. So anytime, guys.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you guys.
Okay, fly safe, commanders. Catch up soon.
Fly safe. DECE Scouts signing off. Good night.